There was one beautiful experience I had with my sister-in-law that I really can't forget for the rest of my life, because it was truly beautiful and touching to the point that I had tears in my eyes at that time. My sister-in-law happened to be left by her husband working abroad and decided to come live at my house instead of being with her in-laws. What I experienced with her happened when my wife was assigned a business trip out of town to conduct an audit for a week. This meant there was an opportunity for me and my sister-in-law during that time. This is the story more. After I had been out of town for a long time carrying out duties from the company where I worked, I came home. I felt that I really missed my daughter. And strangely enough, I also really missed my sister-in-law, who had been with me at home for quite a long time. Her name was Mbak Sri. Meanwhile, for my wife, I don't miss her that much. Maybe because while I was outside the city, my wife and I always made contact every day by telephone and sometimes by video call. So my longing has been cured. Previously, after playing for a long time with my cute daughter and eating fried indomie made by my sister-in-law, I immediately went to my room and slept, because that day I was so tired. The next day, because I was still tired, I planned not to go to the office. That morning when I woke up, I saw that my wife was dressed neatly. "Tilda, come on, Dad, wake up. You'll be late for the office." "You know, Tilda," said my wife. "Tilda, Ma, I don't think Papa is coming to work today. He's still tired. Papa can just rest at home today, okay? In the afternoon, Papa will call the office and ask for permission to take a day off, Tilda," I said as an excuse. "Tilda, okay, then Mama can just go to the office alone. Papa, get enough rest first to be fresh," Tilda said, my wife understandingly. After my wife left, I went back to sleep. At exactly 12:3, I woke up. The sun was hot outside. I left the room because I wanted to look for my daughter. But what I found was Mbak Sri, my sister-in-law, who was washing dishes in the kitchen. "Tilda, sis, where are you?" I asked. "Tilda, Mas Amin is awake. His mother brought his little brother. He said that Mas Amin was tired and needed to rest. So he was afraid that he would disturb Mas Amin's sleep. So he took him," Tilda said my brother-in-law, explaining. "It turns out that my daughter was taken by my wife. Wow, so it's just me and my sister-in-law at home." Chihuye. Thinking about that, suddenly my heart started pounding, because my desire began to appear for my brother-in-law, whom I had been dreaming of for quite a long time. Moreover, while I was on duty outside the city, I never did that. So that day, I had to be able to get love and affection from my brother-in-law completely. Both body and soul, I had to be able to do it. That's what I thought. I immediately went to take a shower. After showering, I went straight to the kitchen with only a towel. I did that on purpose. Of course, to make it easier and speed up the process that I was going to go through with my sister-in-law. It turned out that the food had been prepared by my sister-in-law. That day, my sister-in-law seemed to be cooking my favorite fried chicken. After eating, I immediately went to my sister-in-law's room, and it turned out she was watching television in her room. I just went in and sat next to her. My sister-in-law saw me coming. Even though he was originally lying down, he immediately tried to sit up. However, I immediately held him down so he didn't sit down and remain lying down. Mbak Sri, just lie down. Let's watch TV together, okay sis? I said as I also lay down next to my sister-in-law. At that time, my heart felt strangely pounding. My palms felt cold. This was because I admitted that earlier, when I was going to his room, my loyal friend had actually started to act and wanted to find his favorite nest. So after I was beside him, I wanted it even more. At that time, I had forgotten everything, starting from the feeling of shame and also my loyalty to my wife. At that time, all that was on my mind was how that day I could have new experiences with my brother-in-law while the house was quiet. I was no longer focused on the TV show. Even though my eyes were on the TV show, my mind wasn't there. Every now and then I tried to gently guide my sister-in-law's hand, but my sister-in-law just kept quiet. Even when I started trying to start, she could just keep quiet. This made me feel like I got the green light from him. So I went further in my efforts to create a romantic atmosphere with my sister-in-law. So it wasn't long before I heard a melodious voice coming out of my sister-in-law's mouth. After I was sure that my sister-in-law wouldn't forbid me, I immediately tried to sit down, and I also gave her a code so that my sister-in-law would also sit next to me. Without asking many more questions, after my sister-in-law followed the code I gave. For a moment I looked at her beautiful face when she was half desired. I looked at her with a pounding heart. Now before my eyes, my sister-in-law really did what I wanted. I thought and really couldn't believe it, because my sister-in-law was so obedient that day. Could it also be because she, who had been away from her husband for quite a long time, also started to feel how comfortable it was when she was with me at that time? I don't know, nor do I care about all that. What is certain is that I was very happy that day. I will not waste this opportunity. Without waiting long, I immediately gave him special attention. I saw my sister-in-law closing her eyes, as if he also wants to live it. After we both really had everything ready, without thinking any further, I immediately positioned it correctly and appropriately. Then I moved it forward. For a moment my brother-in-law looked shocked. Maz, is this? He said slowly. Calm down sis. I tried to calm her down, while continuing what had happened at that time. I also tried slowly and lovingly, and at that moment I knew that as long as there was no husband, my sister-in-law would definitely not. I've experienced it again. I can tell with the little difficulty I experienced. Mbak Sri, I love back. But my sister-in-law couldn't be heard responding. But she just kept trying to welcome everything I did with great affection and appreciation. That day I was really happy. That day, my sister-in-law and I kept repeating it until we didn't realize it was already 16:30, which means my wife will be home soon. I quickly cleaned up again and left my sister-in-law's room. That day I was finally able to have my brother-in-law. In my heart I promised not to waste it. So since the first incident that I did with my brother-in-law, I became increasingly carried away, as did my brother-in-law. So I always try to get the opportunity with him, like that day. I deliberately forgot to bring office files or documents. So I had to go home to get the files when my wife was already at the office, and I used that opportunity to share with my brother. My brother-in-law. Of course, previously I had called my sister-in-law to immediately put my daughter to sleep, so that when I arrived we could share more freely. Oh yeah. Fortunately, the first time I did it with my sister-in-law, nothing happened that I didn't want. Frankly, I was worried that my sister-in-law would have an accident, because at that time I didn't use safety gear. It could be a hassle, and I wouldn't be able to keep repeating it if my wife found out. At that time, 2 days after I did it with my sister-in-law, I saw that she was feeling unfit and fell ill. I was worried and thought the same thing. No, but fortunately, it turns out that after taking the medicine, my brother-in-law is back to good health. So to avoid that one thing, in the end I always use a safety guard when I'm with my brother-in-law. Usually when I'm done with it, I immediately take it out, far from home, and I threw it in the bushes. There was one beautiful experience I had with my brother-in-law that I really can't forget for the rest of my life, because it was truly beautiful and touching, to the point that I had tears in my eyes at that time. What I experienced with him happened when my wife got an assignment, an official trip out of town to carry out an audit for a week. This meant that there was an opportunity for me and my sister-in-law during that time. That afternoon, I was so excited and wanted to go home as soon as possible. I don't know why I was so enthusiastic and happy that day. Maybe it was because my wife was the one being outside the city, so that I can freely share my love with my sister-in-law. Imagining that, my heart beats even more happily. I didn't forget to stop by the pharmacy to buy a pack of safety equipment. At exactly 18:02 I arrived home. My sister-in-law opened the gate with my daughter in her arms. My sister-in-law welcomed my arrival with a very sweet smile in my eyes, while my daughter laughed happily while pointing at myself. After parking the vehicle, I immediately took my daughter from her arms while saying, "Tilda ma'am, please prepare warm water, okay? I want to soak Tilda, it's cool. Mas Amin, I want to soak." He, Tilda said, my sister-in-law, laughing as if she knew what was on my mind. Not long after, my sister-in-law came into my room and took her turn looking after my daughter. Meanwhile, I walked to the bathroom. In the bathroom, my mind started to wander. I imagined tonight about my beautiful event with my sister-in-law. The plan is that tonight, I will invite my sister-in-law to my room. When my daughter is fast asleep, I want my sister-in-law to be my overnight wife that night. I will treat her well and lovingly like my legal wife. That night, when the clock showed 21:3 and my daughter was asleep, I also didn't forget to prepare some protective products that I had bought at the pharmacy and put them behind my pillow so that I could easily reach them when I wanted to use them. I slowly left the room and headed to my sister-in-law's room. When I got to her room, I saw my sister-in-law watching a film on TV. I immediately sat on the edge. "Tilda's sister, tonight you can just rest in my room, okay?" "Tilda," I said softly. My sister-in-law just nodded. I grabbed the remote control that was lying near her bed, then I turned off the TV. After that, I took my sister-in-law's hand out of my room and didn't forget to turn off the light in her room. We both walked slowly towards my room without saying a word. Only my hand and my sister-in-law's hand indicated the feeling of happiness that we both felt. I turned off the main light and turned on the 3-watt night light. The dimness in the room added to the romantic feel and made me even more happy. Maybe my sister-in-law also felt the same way. We, who were still standing together, immediately started with feeling we were both together. That night it was very relaxing, because we were free for quite a long time that night. We poured out our feelings for each other on that romantic night. As time goes by, the seeds of love grow more and more in our hearts. Tilda, thank you, sis. I promise I will continue to make you happy, sis Tilda, I whispered, as I led my sister-in-law to the place where I usually share with my wife. But tonight, I want my sister-in-law to also be my wife. Even though it's only a wife in my heart and soul, a secret wife in my heart. Even though I've often been like that with my sister-in-law, the atmosphere tonight was very different from the previous ones. Tonight, we were both much more able to appreciate it, and there was no need to rush. Not like usual, where we do it quickly and in a bit of a hurry. Because we are afraid that at any moment my wife will come home from work. Tonight is my sister-in-law and I's night, and from tonight until tomorrow morning no one will disturb us. Tonight my brother-in-law really appreciated him, so we tried many procedures. Until after we got them several times, we both smiled happily and looked at each other. Until finally my sister-in-law and I fell asleep. But at exactly midnight, I woke up. I saw my sister-in-law, who was still sleeping soundly beside me. I immediately got up and walked towards the bathroom. After leaving the bathroom, I returned to the room. I saw my sister. My brother-in-law is still sleeping beautifully. Suddenly, my desire came back when I saw my sister-in-law, who was so beautiful in her sleep. I then approached her. After I tried for a while, my sister-in-law seemed to move and open her eyes. Tilda, Maz, how come you're awake? What time is it? Tilda, almost 4 in the morning, sis. Tilda, I answered as I continued my efforts. And finally, my sister-in-law started to give her speech by continuing to stroke my hair. I understand. That means my sister-in-law has started to get carried away again. Immediately, I started to perfect it with her help. How beautiful my sister-in-law's face was in my eyes in the evening before morning. It's true what people say. If it's something we get with difficulty and stealth is more impressive. I promise in my heart, I will always love my brother-in-law and will not waste him forever. Remembering his kindness and sincerity towards me all this time. My brother-in-law is special. Besides his style, which is not too noisy, he is also full of understanding. I looked at my brother-in-law's face. There is a feeling of love and peace in my heart when I look at his face. Tilda, sis, do you want to continue like this with me? Tilda, I whispered. My brother-in-law's gaze was looking up at the ceiling of the room. Tilda, madam, I want to. Bro, but I also don't want to hurt your wife's heart, bro. Tilda, the answer was quiet and almost inaudible. Tilda, honestly, sis, since I've been with you, my life feels so beautiful. I'm more enthusiastic when I go to the office. I'm afraid of losing you, I'm afraid that at any time you'll leave this family, especially leaving me, Tilda, I said sadly. Tilda sis will always be here, Maz. Beer. It feels so cool to my body and soul hearing that. It didn't feel like it was already 05:35, but we both continued and finally fell asleep again. At around 7:45 we both woke up when we heard my daughter crying. I hurriedly got ready to go to the office. That day I was late getting to the office. The secret relationship I had with my sister-in-law went smoothly. In front of my wife, there is no visible special relationship between me and my brother-in-law, because we always act naturally like a brother-in-law and sister-in-law, so my wife never gets suspicious, let alone thinks anything wrong. This really relieved me, but a week after my wife returned from her out-of-town assignment, suddenly my brother-in-law asked for permission. He wanted to visit his in-laws, who were in another city. I was shocked to hear this, but because my wife was there, I just keep quiet and let my wife do the talking. I'm afraid that that's just her reason to leave me. Apparently not. My brother-in-law said that he only wanted to visit for a week and after that he would return to our house. It really hurt my heart to hear that. But humans can only plan, because it turns out that the thing I was afraid of actually happened. My brother-in-law never came back again. After more than 10 days of no news from him, we tried to contact him on his cell phone, but he didn't pick up. My wife is quite confused, because my daughter often calls and asks, "Tilda, where is Aunt Sri?" Tilda, and the one who feels the loss the most is me. Since losing my brother-in-law, my life has become less enthusiastic. I get angry easily at the office. I really feel lost and feel empty in this life. I often daydream, but in front of my wife I always try to act as if nothing has changed in me. Usually when I get home from work I go straight home, but since my sister-in-law left, I really feel miserable. My situation like that lasted for almost a month, until I finally realized that my love story with my sister-in-law might have to end there. It's true what wise people say, the more you love someone, the more you have to let them go from your life. Hopefully my story can be a lesson for fellow readers, not to get involved in love like I experienced. That is all, and thank you.
have we spent together in the middle of so many stories? Often I ask, what do I really think about you? Could this be called love, or is it just normal taste? Now I know the answer, what I feel is so real. Turns out I love you more and more. Love only you alone. You are my only love, don't want anything else. Only with you, you are the last love I want. Irreplaceable, will not change. My love is only for you forever. Often I ask, what do I really think about you? Could this be called love, or is it just normal taste? Now I know the answer, what I feel is so real. Turns out I love you more and more. Love only you alone. You are my only love, don't want anything else. Only with you, you are the last love I want. Irreplaceable, will not change. My love is only for you forever. So my only love, don't want anything else. Only with you, you are the last love I want. Irreplaceable, will not change. My love is only for you forever. Irreplaceable, will not change. My love is only for you forever. Turns out I love you more and more. Love only you alone. You are my only love, don't want anything else. Only with you, you are the last love I want. Irreplaceable, will not change. My love is only for you forever. My heart is shaking, my heart is shaking, my heart is shaking. My heart trembles when I first met him. Her soft voice chanting his name. Since that meeting, I fell in love with him. Love slowly grows, fills a space in the soul. Take me always, present in every dream you have. In every step and in your life. Hold me now and later, hope in my heart. Take me forever. The beauty of this love, burning in the heart. Now I know for sure he's true destiny. Love, burning in the heart. Now I know for sure he is true destiny. Hold me now and later, hope in my heart. Take me forever. The beauty of this love, burning in the heart. Now I know for sure he is true destiny. Hold me now and later, hope now and later. Take me always, present in every dream you have. In every step and in your life. Hold me now and later, hope in my heart. Take me forever. The beauty of this love, burning in the heart. Now I know for sure he is true destiny. Hold me now and later, hope in my heart. Take me forever. The beauty of this love, burning in the heart. Now I know for sure he is true destiny. My heart trembles when I first met him, her soft voice chanting his name. Thank you. Today I am happy, stepping lightly in the air. The postman came with news from him I long for. Sweet little letter, the color is red. Like the first prize, I can't wait to open it. 1, 2, and 3, I started reading it. My first love letter makes my heart flutter like a